Hello friends! Is your car struggling with power loss, rough idling, or sudden stalling? If your obd2 scanner is showing code P0257, you might be dealing with a problem in the injection pump fuel metering control B-low, cam, rotor, or injector. Ignoring this issue can lead to engine misfires, poor fuel economy, and even complete engine failure. But don't worry. In this video, we'll cover what P0257 means, its symptoms, sensor locations, and how to fix it. Let's get started. P0257 indicates that the fuel metering control circuit B is operating at a lower voltage than expected. This means that the fuel injection pump is not delivering the right amount of fuel, which can lead to performance issues and excessive emissions. When this happens, you may experience things like engine hesitation or rough-running loss of acceleration power, excessive black smoke from the exhaust, and difficulty starting the engine. If left unchecked, this issue can cause permanent damage to the fuel system and engine components. So here are a few symptoms you might notice. The check engine light comes on, you experience reduced fuel efficiency, there's a strong fuel smell coming from the exhaust, the RPM is unstable when idling, or maybe the engine suddenly stalls while you're driving. If you notice any of these, diagnosing the sensor locations is honestly the first step. To properly diagnose and fix P0257, you need to locate these key components. Alright, let's break down the main parts you'll want to check. First, there's the fuel injection pump. This is usually at the front of the engine, near the timing cover, and it regulates fuel flow. Next up is the fuel metering control valve, or B-side solenoid, which is mounted right on the fuel injection pump and is responsible for adjusting how much fuel gets supplied. Then, you have the fuel rail pressure sensor, found on the fuel rail itself, monitoring and regulating fuel pressure. The crankshaft position sensor, or CKP, is located near the transmission bell housing or sometimes on the engine block, and it helps synchronize the fuel injection timing. And finally, the camshaft position sensor, or CMP, is usually on the cylinder head and assists in fuel timing adjustments. A failure in any of these components can lead to low fuel pressure and trigger that P0257 code. So, what are the most common causes of a P0257 code? Well, first, a malfunctioning fuel injection pump. If the pump is faulty, it just might not deliver the correct fuel pressure. Second, a defective fuel metering control valve, or B-side solenoid. A faulty solenoid can restrict or mismanage fuel flow. Third, wiring issues or loose connections. Broken or corroded wires can disrupt signals between the ECU and the fuel system. Fourth, clogged or dirty fuel injectors. If the injectors are blocked, they won't deliver the right amount of fuel. And finally, a weak or failing fuel rail pressure sensor. If this sensor fails, the ECU may not regulate fuel flow properly. So let's talk about how to fix P0257. First, check the fuel injection pump for any leaks or signs of wear, and replace it if necessary. Next, inspect and test the fuel metering control valve, also known as the B-side solenoid. Clean or replace it if needed. Then, grab a multimeter and test the fuel rail pressure sensor, replacing it if you find it's faulty. After that, take a look at the wiring harness and connectors for any corrosion or damage, and repair or replace them as needed. It's also important to scan both the crankshaft and camshaft position sensors to make sure they're sending accurate signals. Finally, clear the trouble code with an obd2 scanner and take your car for a test drive to see if the problem is resolved. P0257 is definitely a serious issue. It can cause fuel pressure drops, poor acceleration, and even excessive emissions. Fixing it early on will help restore your engine's performance and fuel efficiency. If you want to learn more about obd2 error codes, check out these next videos. P0197, which covers engine oil temperature sensor low voltage, and P0198, which is all about engine oil temperature sensor high voltage. And hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to IG Garage for more car repair tips.